And good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, and this is This Day.
Yes, this is This Day.
Welcome to This Day. It is Tuesday, and it's January 22nd, and it's also National Blondie Brownie Day, which you said you like better.
I like the blondies, I think, better than the brownie.
I know. Well, we're going to tell you what they're all about a little bit later.
They're really good. I enjoy them very much. And there's no meetings today, so we'll tell you who's on. And from the Alzheimer's Family Center, we have Andrea Lindquist, and she is a therapist with the Mind and Memory Program at Mission Hospital. Also, we're going to bring you a segment, Getting to Know, and this one is with Sydney Whitney. You certainly don't know her. She does our some of the Thrive shows. Saddleback Memorial, we're going to bring you a segment with them, and then a cooking segment I did with Agewell a while back, a Kitchens of Ken segment, where we do some very easy recipes that you can do inexpensively and easily at home. So check out that. You're going to tell us about the Blondie, right?
Yes, I am. So Blondie brownies are similar to regular brownies. However, in place of cocoa, brown sugar is used, giving a sweet tooth, satisfying molasses flavor. Most people like to add white chocolate or chocolate chips to their brownies. Other things like nuts, toffee, or butterscotch. Blondie brownies are usually prepared unfrosted, as the brown sugar flavor tends to be sweet enough. This light-colored treat was actually invented in Upper Sandusky, Ohio, and the recipes for Blondie brownies can be found in recipe books dating back to the 1940s. So there you go.
Yeah, I wish we had some right now.
I know, me too, because we had those Fig Newtons. So anyway, but tomorrow is another great national day, and we hope to have some goodies here for that. Ken, what's going on with the wind? Well,
it is very windy out there today. In fact, yesterday I was telling you about that we're going to have the Santa Ana winds for a few days. And it is actually clocked around. Yesterday I told you it was coming from the northwest. It is now clocked around and coming a little bit more from the northeast. Actually, yesterday was north by northwest, and today it's east by northeast, basically. But it is a little bit stronger wind. One of the reasons is the low pressure system that we had has moved off towards closer to the Midwest, actually really more towards Colorado and those areas. Those spin counterclockwise, and the high pressure system, which spins clockwise, is moving in, so they're creating a vortex, and that's exactly why we're getting these strong winds. And you'll feel it out there. They're cooler winds this time of year. However, the temperatures are going to be beginning to rise today. Now, 66 today, 68 tomorrow. Then we go up to the mid 70s. Some areas, I got 76 on Saturday. There'll be some areas in Southern California that will be reaching 80 degrees or more on Saturday. It should be the warmest day of the week. And also on that day, it looks like Saturday or Sunday, we could get the winds back again as well. So windy today, I think breezy tomorrow with the offshore winds, and then possibly another chance of some offshore breezes or winds coming in either Saturday or Sunday over the weekend. So warm weather. Here we are around the area today, and everything pretty much in the mid 60s. Palm Springs about 70, Big Bear about 36. They're getting winds up there. But remember, these winds heat up as they go down the mountains. They begin to gain friction as they go down, and so they heat up. So that's why up at Big Bear, if you were up there today, they're getting the winds going up and over, and they're going to be very cold winds up there. And again, they'll continue tomorrow. Today should be the strongest day for the winds here in South Orange County. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
At Diane's Hallmark, we're ready for Valentine's Day. Are you? Come in and see our great selection of cards and gifts. We have everything you need to show that special someone how much you care. And don't forget those grandkids either. Diane's Hallmark has many gifts and cards for them as well. Diane's Hallmark is located in the town center, right next to Hobby Lobby. Come in today and take care of all of your Valentine's Day needs.
Welcome back. I'm Kiana Lee. Today we're talking to Dr. Chuck Lee of 7-Day Dental. Today's topic is dental implants. Doctor, what do we need to know about dental implants?
Well, when you lose a tooth, you lose bone. With a dental implant, it maintains your bone and it's an easy procedure. We are open 7 days a week, 365 days a year for all your dental needs.
Thank you, doctor. So come on in and get your 7-Day Dental smile.
Looking for a change of scenery? You don't have to play golf to enjoy all that 19 Restaurant and Lounge has to offer. From a delicious breakfast menu to our delectable lunch and dinner specials. At 19 Restaurant and Lounge, there is something for everyone. Relax with your friends and family and take in the beautiful view from our spacious patio. Or enjoy a cocktail and appetizer in our lounge. 19 Restaurant and Lounge is a great place to socialize, enjoy a meal, or simply take in the view. Join us 7 days a week and experience Laguna Woods' exclusive dining experience.
I've been with Clear Choice about 6 years now. I have my wife sitting next to me. She was tired of me seeing a what all the time, and that's when we sought out a hearing specialist, and we fell in love with Clear Choice right away. The hearing aids work great. I gave them referrals. My son's got hearing aids from Clear Choice. My neighbor's got hearing aids from Clear Choice. And in my mind, Clear Choice should be your #1 choice.
Come in to one of our locations for a free hearing evaluation. Clear Choice Hearing Aid. Hear better, live better.
Mind and Memory Program at Mission Hospital is an outpatient program specifically designed for patients with a memory disorder who have developed a mental health issue, such as depression, anxiety, or paranoia. Patients are welcome every day, Monday through Friday, up to 4 days a week. On-site meals and snacks are included, and transportation to and from the program is available. The program focuses on improvement in overall mood, function, and concentration, as well as a decrease in depression or anxiety. Call today to find out if you or your loved one qualifies for the Mind and Memory Program.
At Diane's Hallmark, we're ready for Valentine's Day. Are you? Come in and see our great selection of cards and gifts. We have everything you need to show that special someone how much you care. And don't forget those grandkids either. Diane's Hallmark has many gifts and cards for them as well. Diane's Hallmark is located in the town center, right next to Hobby Lobby. Come in today and take care of all of your Valentine's Day needs.
Welcome back. Andrea Lindquist with the Alzheimer's Family Center and the Mind and Memory Program is with us today to talk about the program and also some tips that we can have for caregivers who are caring for somebody who might have some memory issues. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk a little bit about the Mind and Memory Program, which is at Mission Hospital. Maybe give us just sort of an overview of what it's for.
Sure thing. The Mind and Memory Program is a collaboration between the Alzheimer's Family Center in Huntington Beach as well as Mission Hospital in Mission Viejo.
Okay.
It's designed to be a half-day program for people that are experiencing both memory concerns as well as mental health issues such as depression, anxiety, grief. They could have been suffering from something for a long period of time. We have a lot of veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder and a whole wide variety of different issues that we address there.
Okay, and then what does the half-day program sort of consist of? Like if somebody wanted to know what you would be doing, give me an idea of like the agenda.
Sure. So individuals come into our program and are given a very specialized treatment plan designed for them. And the bulk of it consists of group work, and we have some individual therapies. We also do enrichment activities, and everyone's served a lunch or meal while they're there as well.
Okay. So for instance, if you had someone with PTSD versus maybe an elderly person that has some memory issues, how do you separate them into different categories, or do you put them all together, or what do you do?
So everybody there has a memory issue as well as a mental health issue. Okay. So they all have that in common. And there are varying levels of people in terms of where they are in their disease process or how big of an impact it has in their day-to-day life. So we do differentiate the groups based on that, but by and large everybody has that commonality, so they kind of share that in common, and that's part of the beauty of being in a group setting, is that they have that sense of feeling like someone else understands, you know, what their journey is like.
Okay, all right. And then what about some of the benefits? I mean, obvious obviously there's those that you can tell right away.
Right.
But what are some of the in-depth type of benefits that someone would reap from going there?
Yes. So of course there's the benefit of just having professionals that are very specialized in dealing with these unique issues, but there's also the kind of hidden benefit of having sort of a structured activity to belong to, as well as activities that are designed to enhance your cognitive implementation and awareness. Our participants see an increase in their overall mood, as well as their ability to function in their everyday life through a decrease in feelings of depression and anxiety. So we are seeing those benefits as for the participants that are coming through, and just being part of something, a purpose, and having that structure in their lives and an activity to go to kind of helps with their maintaining their life and their structure in their outside life as well.
Now you mentioned there's some activities that are being done. Tell me what they are.
Most of the enrichment activities have to do with brain exercises. We have a whole slew of staff that are there. So during that half-day program, a lot of our participants liken it to being sort of in school. And they get a lot of teaching and instruction, a lot of information about their disease process. And then all the intangibles of connecting with others as well.
Okay, all right, well, good. And, you know, how do you know if this program is good for you? I mean, what are some of the things that people need to be looking out for to decide whether or not they should show up?
So the best thing to do is to really call our offices, and an intake person will go over some of those questions right off the bat. Our number is 949-364-4203. You can call and connect with someone, and they'll start that process. But then another first line of defense that's really the best place to start is to get a memory checkup. We offer memory checkups at the Mind and Memory program, as well as throughout Orange County at various partners that we work with. And a memory checkup is basically a questionnaire that the individual fills out with a professional that's trained in this area to go over what memory concerns you're having and determine if those memory concerns are what we would consider normal aging versus things that might need further exploration with your doctor. So that's kind of the first line of defense.
Okay, well, perfect. So you did give the numbers, so hopefully people. Now let's talk about some tips for someone that might be noticing changes in the brain. What are some things that they should be aware of?
Well, there's all sorts of changes that can happen as we age. Again, some that are considered normal aging and some that aren't. But really, if you're noticing any differences in how you're handling things, maybe forgetting people's names that you've known for a long period of time, forgetting important tasks or parts of conversations that have been going on. Those are all things that you would want to bring up during the memory checkup when we go over that questionnaire. Just because you're having some challenges doesn't mean that you have dementia. There's a lot of issues that might be going on. Say you just lost a loved one and you're experiencing some grief, or maybe it's even evolved into a depression. That can mimic some of the symptoms that we see with cognitive issues as well. So it's sort of scary to think about exploring that. People become sort of afraid to bring that up to their doctor, but it's really important because some of these things can be treated with some medication and talk therapy versus something that is more of a long-term progressive illness like a dementia.
Wow, okay. Now you also said something, there's a couple things that you mentioned here, the isolation. So you certainly could isolate yourself when you lose a loved one, right? Because you're sad. So what about a different kind of isolation? Is there a different kind?
Well, typically isolation would involve just anytime you're kind of withdrawing from people, and the reason for it can be varied. It might be based in fear. People might be afraid, okay, if people see that I'm having some problems, they might take away my driving privileges. They might take over my finances. I'm not going to be able to live independently. But if you can get past some of those fears and continue to stay connected with people, we find that that helps to improve your overall cognition and helps people to function better overall as well.
Right.
So it's really ideal if, especially with Valentine's Day coming up, if you get invited to go play pickleball or do an activity with a friend, go to a movie or participate in a bridge game. It's really important that you try and work past those fears of people seeing that you might be struggling,
Right.
and stay connected by doing those activities with your friends and family members,
Right.
or pick up the phone and make a phone call and invite somebody to join you, just to try and continue to stay connected, continue to socialize, which again gets back to the Mind and Memory program, which that's one of our main goals, is to have that connection and that socialization, because it's so important in keeping our brain healthy.
Okay. And now, many people have caregivers that should be looking out for some of these signs as well. What would you advise the caregivers to do?
So an estimated 16 million people are caring for someone with a memory impairment, which is a huge number. And they're often the first people that notice what's going on. So we would recommend that the caregiver, and caregivers can call our center as well and get information, and can encourage. A lot of times I encourage spouses, if they feel like their husband or wife is having an issue, partner with them and come in together to do a memory checkup. So we'll do a checkup for both of the people in the marriage. It's just a healthy thing to do, to stay on top of where, kind of get a baseline of where your memory is functioning. And that's a nice way to, again, lessen the fear about doing it, and get your spouse in there or your parent in there to come and have a memory checkup to see how things are going and see what needs further exploration.
You know, one thing I do want to touch on is the fear that you talked about, because, I think people could be afraid to come into the center to share the information for fear that it would kind of backfire on them.
Of course.
So I'm assuming that the information you receive from them is all confidential.
It's completely confidential. The memory checkups are completely free. Anybody can come in who's over the age of 55, and you can, and in fact, you're encouraged to do it once a year. In addition, on the caregiver note, for caregivers who are struggling with taking care of a loved one or have questions, we were granted a very large amount of money to provide free counseling. So any caregiver can come in, doesn't matter if you're affiliated with our program, if your loved one's affiliated, any caregiver can come in and receive 4 free counseling sessions.
Okay, I think we have a flyer on that. Does that start, or this is the program itself, right?
This is one of the workshops that's being offered through our program.
All right.
But we do, and again, if you contact the center, they can give you any information you want about the free caregiver counseling.
Oh, good. So there's 2 kinds. So now, what is this one in particular? It says Advanced Care Planning.
Yes, the Advanced Care Planning, that is a workshop for older adults to make sure that their affairs are in order, and it's sort of a piggyback on one of our other programs that we offer. We have lots of resources.
Good. Okay, perfect. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate the information, and good luck.
Thank you so much for having us and getting the word out there.
All right, you're welcome. And remember that you can always contact Mission Hospital in Mission Viejo to find out more about the Memory and Mind Care program. We'll be right back after this.
Are you looking for a better way to manage your medication? MedBox by AmeriPharma has redefined the pharmacy experience. No more pill organizers and vials. When we fill your prescriptions, you get all your medications conveniently packaged by the dose and delivered to your door at no additional cost. This means no change in insurance, copays, or out-of-pocket expenses. Call our specialists today and discover the new way of pharmacy. MedBox by AmeriPharma.
I came from Western Massachusetts, and there's a lot of folks that seem to come from like the Boston area here, and the area of the East Coast, and then I came out here in 1979, and I started working in the Saturday morning cartoon houses. It was called Filmation, and I drew Fat Albert Heckle and Jekyll and Flash Gordon. That's how I learned to become an animator. And then I kept applying at Disney because I heard they admire perseverance. So on the 4th time, they said, you know, we admire your persistence. You're coming into our training program. So I did, and that was the start of a 24-year love affair and experience with that company. I'm here now.
Wow.
Yeah, living the life. And I think, that's one of the things that people do now is that we sort of compartmentalize our story so that we can sort of pick the highlights of because our lives are long before we come to the village, so it's really kind of challenging. But I worked at Disney for 24 years, and after I left there, I went back to school. I was an adult learner. I went to college as an adult, and then after I got I completed my master's degree and my doctorate, and I went to work in the public sector, which is very different from working in the private sector, such as Disney. So I was the head of training for the city of Pasadena, and I retired from as the head of training for the Metrolink organization, which is our regional railroad. And that was it.
Wow.
My whole life. 25 words or less.
So you were telling me an interesting story about Roy Disney in Russia.
Well, if you have to say what was one of the, most sensational experiences in your work life, Disney had a lot of them, but one time it was around 1990, and it was the period when the Soviet Union, just before the Soviet Union fell, and it was called Perestroika and Glasnost, which was a cultural exchange. Well, Madame Gorbachev called the Disney Corporation, and she wanted Roy Disney and his wife Patty and there were 14 of us, and we went over to the Soviet Union. We brought 4 animated films with us because they wanted to share those with as many people as they could get into the theaters because they'd never seen these movies. And the Moscow airport was shut down when we arrived there, and we rode through the middle of Moscow in a motorcade. And I mean, it was absolutely remarkable. It was really remarkable. It was an unusual event, to say the least.
That sounds pretty cool.
It was very cool, very cool.
So I know you're involved in a lot of activities here. You're hosting Discovering Laguna Woods Village. Did you have TV experience before? Is that your first TV show you've done?
Well, no, I not camera work.
As a host?
I've done a lot of presenting. I presented all over the world. Disney sent me to Singapore and Hong Kong and London and Paris and Moscow, but other places where we were actually recruiting for regional offices there. So I would go into schools primarily and recruit young artists to work in the regional offices so that they could produce product. I mean, Disney was going through a period of rapid growth, and so they needed to staff up these offices, so they sent me all over the world, and it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So I presented a lot, but I wasn't on camera. That's new.
So you're a natural.
No, I don't know about that. I practiced talking to my refrigerator. That's my secret.
So your jewelry work is very, very interesting.
Clubhouse 4 is the most remarkable thing, and I mentioned it in one of my shows as I was talking to Yvonne Lowe. I said, when I walked past the display windows in Clubhouse 4, that was the thing that said, you need to move here because there are people here who make this amazing work, and maybe you can meet them and maybe they can share their skills with you, and they do. They're so generous with their time. So we have great artists that live here and train others and the Emeritus program. So I mean, it's just like, it's like a whole new life. It's like a sandbox for grown-ups. It really is. So I love that aspect of it. You're always on a learning curve.
What other clubs or groups are you working with, hanging out with?
Well, I do yoga, and that's become a new passion of mine, and I feel it actually changing me over time. If you do it regularly, it's a really nice benefit of having the time to learn yoga and to practice yoga. The television show takes up some time, but that's great because I'm always meeting new people. I'm always finding people that have interesting lives and stories, and they're just so wonderful to meet. And we're so lucky that we can just walk wherever we're going, stop, say hello, and find out something about someone who might have come from across town or across the world. Yeah. It's amazing.
Everybody has a bucket list, right? Cindy, tell us some about your bucket list.
Well, I've already checked off 2 things since I've lived here in 3 years. I learned to swim, and also I learned to ride a horse. So I went over to the stables and, did that for a while.
You never rode a horse before you lived here?
No, no, and I wanted to. And there were horses all around me when I was growing up, and I was always afraid of them. It's similar to the fear I had of water, so a fear of horses. So I'm knocking off all my phobias. But that was terrific. And once I got that out of my system, then I said, okay, I can move on to something else now. But yeah, a few more things to check off.
So now you're a regular horse rider?
No, I just got it out of my system. Yeah, I went a few times and I accomplished that, and then I think the beginning of the fear started to come back. So I said, okay, let's move on to something else. Maybe go back to that. But it's just nice to have it. I mean, who has an equestrian center? It's amazing. Nobody.
You look like you could surf. You thought about trying to surf?
Well, okay. I moved up from learning how to float and swim to paddle. I have paddleboarded. Okay. I have paddleboarded. But you know what I really spend a lot of time doing?
The nap.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list. To be able to, in the middle of the afternoon, sit down and just close your eyes. I never could do that when I was working. It wouldn't do. So now I can.
They call that the guilt-free nap.
It's a guilt-free nap for sure. Yep, just waste a half an hour and get up and do something else. So yeah, why not?
Awesome. Well, thanks, Cindy. It's been really fun. I'm glad we had this chance to sit down and talk.
Thanks for coming over, Mark. It was fun.
I just love that ring. Where'd you get it?
I got it at the jewelry box. I saw it on Facebook, and then I went in and bought it. They have the most unique, awesome pre-owned pieces for amazing prices.
The Jewelry Box of Lake Forest, voted best jewelry store in Orange County for 8 straight years, offering unmatched prices on fine jewelry and watches, refurbished to new condition.
Visit us in our store or shop our website for just arrived items.
The Jewelry Box. It's about trust.
Welcome back. Well, advances in technology today now allow us to have robotic-assisted anti-reflux surgery. And today I have Dr. William Wallace, who is the Medical Director of General Surgery at Memorial Care Saddleback Medical Center, to talk about it. Well, welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, before we get started, let's go ahead and hear about your background and how this came to be with you using the robotic system.
Sure. So I'm a local kid. I grew up in Tustin, California. I played football at Servite High School, one of my proudest achievements. I went to University of California, Riverside, University of Vermont for medical school, and fortunate enough to come back to UCI where I did my surgical training, where it was really just the frontier experimentation in robotic surgery. Mm-hmm. I was a general surgeon. I came to Saddleback 15 years ago. I was very fortunate to be able to stay close to my family. And within the last 5 or 6 years, robotic surgery for anti-reflux surgery has really come along to, originally I thought it was an alternative to the laparoscopic surgery that I have been doing for 15, 20 years, and to the point where I believe, and I believe the research is showing, it's actually better operation than laparoscopic with better outcomes, certainly more elegant, and it's more fun to do.
More fun to do.
Yep.
Wow.
And I'm really happy with the results that I've been seeing, which is the reason that I'm here today.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the conditions that would lead to possibly needing this type of surgery.
Sure. I think most of the people that I operate on have reflux and have hiatal hernias. And I think we talked to a bunch of people. In fact, I was just talking to your vice president outside. Oh, there's not confidentiality violation there. Was telling me, hey, I have a hiatal hernia, but I'm not experiencing it. I didn't even know I had a hiatal hernia. A lot of people have that, and they don't need to do anything about it. It just means that part of the stomach is popped up into your chest. Unfortunately, as that exacerbates, people get reflux. And hey, now I'm taking Protonics, I take some Mylanta, and I'm doing okay. Great, you're fine. You don't need to do anything. It's the people that are having really bad reflux. So people I've operated on recently is spontaneous vomiting. They have reflux at night. They have to sleep almost straight up, gets into their throat. Chronic cough the next day. And a lot of my patients have adult asthma. And in my opinion, and this is, I don't think medically founded or proved, but I've seen a strong association with adult asthma and reflux. And when I operate on people and we fix the reflux, the adult asthma goes away.
Right.
So my patients, the people that we would operate on, shortness of breath, chronic coughing, protonics doesn't work anymore, pain, spontaneous vomiting, things like that. There is a role for operating on people who just don't want to take medications for the rest of their life, and I think that's very reasonable as well.
Is there something in the body that's actually causing the reflux? I mean, why do you start out with a hiatal hernia first?
Sure. I have a great picture that we'll show later.
Okay.
But it boils down to this. When you eat food, the pressure in your chest is always higher than the pressure in your belly, in your abdomen. So when you eat food, goes down your esophagus, bloop, pops into your stomach, and it stays there.
Okay.
I tell people it's just like a restaurant that has a fan and the flies in the restaurant. Once it flies out, the fly goes away and can't get back in.
Right.
That's just the way that you're built dynamically and physiologically when you're born.
Okay.
Pops in the stomach. When the diaphragm opens up a little bit and the stomach pops up into your chest just a little bit, there is no valve, there is no pressure zone, and it's a free-for-all. And that's how people get reflux. And risk factors are chronic coughing, heavy lifting, straining for bowel movements, liver disease, and just getting older. When we get older, our tissues just aren't as strong as they were when we were 20.
Right, right. Okay, well, let's talk about the surgery itself and how a robotic mechanism is now assisting you. And I know we have some pictures, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that, and you can walk us through it.
That's a great picture. I think if we were to go 20 years ago, we would have a big up and down incision about this big, bunch of retractors fixing it. And that was quite a deterrent for people. Now we're doing it laparoscopically. When I do it laparoscopically, I make about the same incisions, about 8 millimeters, sometimes 10 millimeters. I have an assistant on a high definition camera doing our instruments. When I do it laparoscopically, the instruments I have can do this. They open and close.
Wow.
And I'm looking at a two-dimensional view. If you tried to do it, you would say, how did you do that? That's amazing.
Right.
2D. And just over the years, I can see two-dimensionally, and I know how to manipulate the instruments.
Now, are you doing that by looking at a screen, or do you have something on your head that helps
Great
you
question.
see it?
I'm looking at a monitor. So if I were operating on the patient, I would be looking at this. I'd be looking at the high-definition monitor, using my instruments, asking my partner to move the camera and look around.
Okay.
Robotically, inside the body, instead of having pinchers, I have endo wrists.
Oh, wow.
And the robot can move around. And if you watched me on the robot, you'd be watching me. I would be doing this. It would look like I was doing some kind of yoga class. But if you looked at the robot would be doing 1 millimeter, highly precision maneuvers, allows me to suture front hand, bow hand, tie, really get great visualization. It's 3D. If I put you on the robot, you could probably do it. I'd have to coach you through it.
Yeah.
And we'd have to get you malpractice, which might be tough.
Sure.
But you could do it, and you would like it.
How much training was involved?
Well, it's really, so I would say it's my surgical training, which is 4 years of medical school, 6 years of training, and at this point I have 15 years under my belt. So it's the same operation I'm doing with just different tools. So to get used to doing the tools, I had to go out to the San Jose, where they have the robot center, Intuitive Surgical, which the stock is doing amazing. Everyone says it's peaked out. I don't know, I'm not giving any stock advice. But it's definitely a well-run company. They've put a lot of money in investing, and they're well-trained, and they know what they're doing. So you go to the facility, you work on the robot, we work on animals, and then you come back and you work on the patients with a proctor, somebody watching you, which is what I've done. I've probably done about, I'm guessing 75 to maybe 100 robotic operations at this point.
Great.
And I feel, so I think the learning curve is about 20 or 30, but I've done so many hiatal hernias that putting the robot just a transition more than learning.
Right.
Yeah, I would say it's more adapting than learning.
Right. All right, well, let's go to the next slide, because that way you can tell us how this works.
So this picture right here would be the end product. When we start off, the stomach is up in the chest, and what you can see here is there's stitches closing the diaphragm. That's the diaphragm. Before the stitches are there, you can imagine the diaphragm was wide open, and the stomach was popped up into the chest, and I think we'll see that picture. So what I do is I pull the stomach back down into the abdomen, I close the defect, And then I take the stomach and I wrap it around itself.
Oh, wow.
And that creates a valve.
Okay.
So you can imagine as the stomach inflates or gets insufflated with food, it transduces pressure and it creates a valve. And this was discovered by accident in France. I'm going to guess 50 to 70 years ago. A young man had a perforated ulcer. The surgeon pulled it down, didn't know how to close the ulcer. He wrapped the stomach around it. That was it.
Wow.
Turns out the kid had horrible reflux his whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards his reflux was gone. So they put 2 and 2 together and they figured out, hey, maybe we were onto something here.
Okay. All right. Great. What's now?
So this is a great picture. This is kind of a systematic on how we do it. So this is the hiatal hernia, where part of your stomach is popped up into your chest, and you can see the defect in the diaphragm is pretty big. I pull it down, I fix the defect, so it looks like it did when you were 20. Then I take the stomach and I wrap it around itself and I create the valve.
Okay.
And just by bringing the stomach into the abdomen, changes the pressure zone, so the food goes there and stays there.
Right.
They created the valve, it reinsures that.
Okay.
In surgery, we tried many different evolutions of the wrap, and it turns out that that's still the best way to do it.
Okay. All right. And how long does the procedure take?
Takes me from the time I actually get started, takes me about 2 hours. Sometimes an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay. All right.
A little bit longer for more complicated. This picture over here is an example of a hiatal hernia. Most of the patients I operate on, this part of the stomach.
Almost half of it.
The stomach. The last patient I operated, about 66% of the stomach, 2/3 was up in the chest.
How could eat anything?
Yeah,
How could you eat anything like that?
Well, but she was having spontaneous vomiting.
Oh,
sure. Yeah, she couldn't keep the food down.
Oh, that's just awful.
So she's done great.
Now, is this procedure something that insurance would take care of?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
This is 100% medically indicated.
Great.
We tend to get people off of proton pump inhibitors, right? Which in general I believe is a safe medication. So, I need to get off this. I go, no, I think it's, I read this. No, I think in general it's still pretty safe medication.
Right, okay.
So if your medication's working really well for you, you don't need to see me.
Right.
I'm happy to talk to you about it, but we're probably not going to operate on you.
Right.
And then a lot of times inhalers, their breathing gets better, shortness of breath gets better, activity gets better. They can do more walking and exercising, and then overall just healthier.
And then what is the recovery time once you've had this surgery?
My patients, after I operate on them, I close all their incisions with a plastic surgery closure, waterproof skin glue, no wound care necessary, put a bunch of numbing medicine in the incision. I keep them overnight. Following morning, we do a swallowing study where they swallow the barium or gastric acid.
Oh, my favorite.
Strawberry flavored.
Oh, I bet.
It goes down into the stomach, and I make sure that things are working well. There's no reflux, there's no injury, and then I send them home. Later that day, full liquids for 2 weeks. Anything that you can put through the blender, lattes, smoothies. I always say mashed potatoes dripping off the spoon.
Right.
Okay. And then after 2 weeks, they see me in the office and I advance them to a soft diet, soft mechanical diet, cottage cheese, scrambled eggs, tuna salad.
Right.
And then after 6 weeks, you can eat whatever you want.
And then
I pretty much have everybody 4 to 5 small meals. The rest of it, which is actually the way all of us
We should do it anyway.
4 to 5 small meals. Yeah, dinner should be the smallest meal for everybody.
Right.
Load up early in the day. Oh, now I'm a nutritionist. Load up early in the day, lunch, small dinner.
Right. And then projected for the rest of their life, it will last? Or?
Good question. The main reason that I actually am here today, so in general, I wouldn't go around talking about, I'd love to, if people want me to, I will, but I wouldn't call them and go, hey, I need to talk about this.
Right.
This operation has an 80% long-term success rate.
Okay.
80%. Most of the operations that I do have 99 to 100. Okay, it's 80% long-term success rate. I would argue that my 20% failures, the people that fail, are still a lot better than they were before.
Right.
They're just not perfect.
Right.
So sometimes it's disappointing after surgery, like, this is fantastic, I'm doing great. And then it comes back, they get a little bit of reflux. That would be a failure, but they're still better than they were. They're not having spontaneous vomiting. I think part of the problem is the people that aren't doing as well are the ones that keep coming back. They come to the GI doctors, the primary care doctors, and then the GI doctors and primary care doctors often say, don't do it, it's a bad operation. What they don't know is that 90% of the people that are doing great don't come back. Right. But when you look at the numbers and you look at the statistics, it's a very good operation with a low complication rate and a good success rate, and improves quality of life.
Sounds amazing. I mean, technology today, it's really advancing quickly.
Yeah, it's a great tool for us as surgeons.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you telling us the information.
My pleasure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any questions about this particular surgery, go to memorialcare.org/GERD, and we'll be right back after this.
#1 choice for wood flooring and more is LA Carpet.
Now during their 2-day sale, visit their showroom now and get 65% off wood flooring, laminate, and waterproof flooring.
Plus, get 5-year, 0% financing.
Carpet, #1 for you.
Well, welcome folks to another edition of Kitchens of Ken, and once again, light and easy cooking with Age Well Senior Services. With me today, you might recognize from other past episodes, Lisa Gibson. She is a registered dietitian and nutritionalist with Age Well. Good to have you back.
Thanks, Ken. Always great to see you.
Yeah, and what's even better is, once again, you brought along one of your interns, right?
Yes, this is Alex Strobel. She is a dietetic intern.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And I've had the pleasure of working with her for the last week and a half, and she's helping with this cooking segment.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And you're going through a program now as internship. Where's this going to lead you? To work for Age Well or other different companies that are similar?
Yeah, you never know. My end goal is to be a registered dietitian, just like Lisa. So we'll see what happens. This is a really great experience. So I'm just taking it all in stride, enjoying it.
Well, I think it's wonderful because we need folks like you to help people like me eat a little bit better. And today we're going to do that with some of the stuff we brought today, right?
And our goal is to have easy things because this is our summer edition.
Yeah.
And it's hot, we don't want to cook, so we purchased a couple of items that you can mix together and serve it 3 different ways is what we're doing. And Ken, you're doing summer barbecue.
I am. And you know, here in the village, they're sort of restricted in having outdoor grills. They can only either have a small little propane type grill, maybe an electric grill. So what I wanted to do is bring to you folks how to get those smoky flavors without having the big kind of smoker that I have at home. So very easy nowadays. And the reason is, unlike a few years ago, there are a lot of great spices out there that you can find all over. You can find them at your local grocery store. There's a wonderful spice store that's right down the way in Laguna. And places like Trader Joe's, all these different places, and online, of course, have these spices now that have natural smoke flavoring in them. So a couple ones I want to show you. This is the one I found years ago, and I first came about this probably 10 years ago. It's not this actual one, of course, but it is the actual brand, and it's smoked paprika. Of course, this has been around for decades and decades. And I first found it in the Indian section of a market that I was in. Now, of course, you can find it just about anywhere. And let me take the cap off here, and I want you to smell this. This is smoked sweet paprika. They have smoked hot paprika as well.
So that's great.
This alone will add flavor to a lot of different things.
My mouth's watering.
Yeah, in fact, I have a spice at home. I use a spice blend of salt, this paprika, garlic, and pepper. It's like my standard one. Also, another great one is ancho chili. Now, ancho chili has a smoky flavor. It is a smoked chili or dried chili, but it has almost a sweet raisiny flavor, so it's not really hot. It's a great one to go with. If you don't have that, you can nowadays find almost anywhere all kinds of barbecue rubs out there. Right across the way over at Stater Brothers, there's a line made by McCormick and Stubbs, and I thought I'd go over there and try and find one, and there's probably 20 that I could find. Natural smoke flavoring. And I got these online. I actually got these as a gift. These are a set of smoked spices, but they're bourbon infused as well.
All of them?
All of them, yeah. There's paprika, there's salt, there's vanilla, there's sugar and pepper, and that's a way to go too. And then I was telling you about the spice store down the street. Well, now you can get these wonderful packets of spices. They have all these jars. You can pick what you want. This is a chimichurri blend, which is wonderful. All this kind of stuff adds good grilled flavor to your food without having to have a barbecue at home. So many different ways that you can go here.
Great.
So what I thought I'd do was a little sausage kebab today. And I want you to look at these, and I want you to notice something that one of the mistakes that people make whenever they make kebabs is they put the meat, then the tomato, then the onion, and all that, all on one kebab. Well, they all cook differently. The things like the tomatoes, and here I did some canned artichoke hearts. The tomatoes take like a minute. Artichokes 2 minutes. Of course, the meat and the onions and all take longer. So I do these all separately or close to their time, as you can see how I put them out here. So easy way to do, get yourself whatever kind of oil you like. We use grapeseed oil a lot at our house because my wife is allergic to olives, so we stay away from olive oil. Yeah, but grapeseed oil is a great alternative. Yeah. And the only one I would not ever use in grilling is canola oil. Canola at high temperatures gets almost this fishy kind of flavor and smell to it. So all you do, you just brush some oil on. If you want to use olive oil spray, sprays, they come in canola oil, all kinds of different things. Whatever works best for you. Then whatever spice you want, you just simply sprinkle it on. You oil it because you want the spices to, of course, stay on, right? That's the whole purpose. Every time I cook sausage, I don't care what kind of sausage it is, I will always put on some sort of a flavorful spice blend or rub. It just adds another dimension. And that's the whole point. Light and easy cooking, adding big, bold flavors. You might want to add a little bit of salt, not much at all. What you want to look at if you get your rub or if you get a premix, look at how much salt is in there. I try and find ones that don't have a lot of salt, not because I'm not afraid of salt, it's because I want to control how much salt I put on. So keep that in mind. So there you go. Now, we're going to move on to this wonderful bruschetta you're making, but it's a lentil salad that can be used 3 ways, right? Bruschettas on pasta, just as a dip, right?
Absolutely.
So Alex, why don't you start out by showing how we started with our initial and then the 3 different things we're going to be doing with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we got some pre-cooked lentils from Trader Joe's, as well as this fresh bruschetta sauce. 2 ingredients, really simple. What we're going to do is just combine them all as it is right here in this bowl. So we did that, kind of mixed it up, and then we took a little bit out because, like Lisa said, we're going to be making it 3 different ways. So the first is just as it is, topped with a little feta cheese, and you can use that as a dip. And this is really great on crackers such as Triscuits, or
and Ken's going to try some.
I'm going to try. These are so good. I have to confess, we started making this at our house maybe a couple years ago, and it's so easy. All the ingredients are ready to go. It's just what they call dump and stir. That's what I have to do. Seriously.
Seriously, 30 seconds tops, you're good to go.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, so that's the dip. You can use it over bread, crackers, pretty much anything you like. Eat it with a spoon, that's good too. So we've got our remainder right here. What we're gonna do is you can serve it as a pasta sauce, which is really delicious as well. So we also from Trader Joe's got these goat cheese sun-dried tomato raviolis. So what we're gonna do is just take a little spoonful of the remaining sauce. You're gonna top it over freshly cooked pasta and just kind of like that, and a little bit more. And you're ready to serve.
That's,
really simple, really easy. Yeah, take a look.
Here. You can see that.
There you go.
And when I make this at home, the pasta is obviously hot. I don't heat up that sauce. Just put the sauce on and then it heats up the sauce.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's
because
delicious.
you don't, the heat from the residual pasta will warm that up just a little bit. Yeah. Very
Absolutely,
good.
and you don't have to use raviolis. You can put it over spaghetti, you can do penne, you can do angel hair. Really any kind of pasta that you like is perfect, okay? So now we're gonna make this into a salad. So again, you're gonna have the cooked lentils and the bruschetta sauce mixed together in this little dish right here. What I've done is I've cut up a yellow bell pepper, orange and red, as well as a large cucumber. So I'm gonna do about half of each. I'm gonna dump some of the yellow on in there. It's really nice, really colorful. Bell peppers are a great source of vitamin C, vitamin A, really crunchy, really fresh, and
that really looks good. The colors
Doesn't
alone.
It? I love the color. All right, and let's do the cucumber.
And this is probably one of those salads if you don't like cucumbers,
Yeah.
don't put them in.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so as you can see, I've left the skin on the cucumber. A lot of people peel it. I like to leave it on. It's really mild in flavor, and it adds some fiber. So when you peel it, you're going to miss out on some of the nutrients that you're going to be getting if you do eat the peel.
Now, Lisa, you're a nutritionist here.
Yes.
And of course, Alex is on her way to become
Almost
a
there.
nutritionist. Look at what we're having here today. You know, from this side, by the way, the sausage I used here is a chicken apple sausage, also from Trader Joe's, but we're not pushing Trader Joe's, but a lot of the stuff can be found there. Of course, artichoke hearts, tomatoes, the bell peppers over here, lentils, of course.
Yes.
So
Fantastic.
lentils are like a powerhouse, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely. They are very, very high in protein and in fiber. A serving size is about a half cup, and from that serving, you're going to get about 8 grams of fiber, 9 grams of protein, all super important nutrients that you're not going to be finding in that high of amount in other foods. So recommended daily allowance of fiber is about 25 grams, right? So you're getting about 8-9 grams from one serving. That's a third. That's great. So really tasty, really delicious.
And what we did is, depending on how much time and money you have, if you don't have much time, you can buy these lentils already cooked.
Right.
So this is going to obviously be a little bit more money. Once you open them up, they only keep in the refrigerator about 3 to 4 days.
Yes.
Right. So if you're living by yourself, you can always freeze them if you don't eat them all, but don't let them sit in your refrigerator for a couple of weeks and then go back and eat them.
Yeah.
The other option is these are dried lentils that are really cheap, very inexpensive. They keep when they're uncooked forever.
Yeah.
And it's easy to cook. You don't have to pre-soak them. It only takes about a half an hour minimum to cook if you want them a little softer. And then you could freeze them. If you cook them from dry, then they last for about a week in the refrigerator. And then one more product is...
Yeah, you found this one. This is interesting.
Yeah, Alex is the one that found these. So these are...
So this is by Bird's Eye. I found them at Walmart, and they're really great. This is protein blend. So like I said, lentils are really high in protein. There's another option there.
New England style.
Yeah, and this one is Italian style. So it's a blend of whole grains, lentils. It's got your broccoli, white beans, and a Parmesan garlic sauce. So this serves about 2 people. You just steam it in the microwave for about 5 minutes, and you've got a really easy dinner or easy snack if you want to serve this over some toast or Triscuits as well.
Very good. So you see how easy all this is. It's nutritious. It's delicious. That's the point. We're not taking away any flavor here.
Right.
There's all different kinds of options that you can use. You can even take some of these smoked spices and put them in with the lentil salad, however you like it. Lisa will be back again doing another one, right?
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Nice
Thank you
to
so
see
much,
you.
Ken. It's a
Alex,
pleasure.
nice to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you.
And we'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm John Bowser Bauman. You probably know me best as Bowser from Sha-Na-Na, but I'm also president of Social Security Works PAC. And you know, when I'm in Laguna Woods, I always watch Village television. Grease for peace.
Our Friday movie for you is Harrison Ford in Air Force One. Now this one was made in 1997, but it's still relevant today. It is rated R and it's an action drama thriller. The President of the USA goes to Moscow and gives a stirring speech outlining the USA's new zero tolerance policy with respect to terrorism. On the flight home, terrorists take over Air Force One, the president's official plane, and take the passengers, including his wife and daughter, hostage. The terrorists plan to execute one hostage every half hour unless or until their demands are met. However, the president is a former Medal of Honor winner, so the terrorists may be in for a big surprise when they are charged for Wi-Fi. Oh, that
charged for Wi-Fi.
Charged for Wi-Fi. Oh, interesting. Yeah, and charged for Wi-Fi. We always get charged for Wi-Fi. Anyway, it stars Harrison Ford, Gary Oldman, and Glenn Close, and that will be on Friday at 2 and 7 p.m.
You know that actor's been in a couple other big movies too.
Who?
Harrison Ford.
Oh, really?
Yes, he has.
Of course he has.
Yes. And I do think there's supposed to be another Indiana Jones coming out.
Oh my gosh.
I do.
Okay.
I thought I
Okay.
heard that.
All right.
All right, this is a really good movie on Monday, a movie you probably haven't heard of, but it's based on a true story. The Catcher was a Spy, and this is a war drama based on a true story of Mo Berg, played by Paul Rudd, a former Major League Baseball catcher who speaks 9 languages and is recruited by the Office of Security Services during World War II to thwart a German scientist's plans to assemble an atomic bomb for the Nazis. Is that interesting?
Wow.
Yeah.
That does look great.
Yeah, and I think that office eventually morphed into what we consider like the CIA now, or the NSA actually. But what a great movie. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, that does look good.
Yeah.
That looks really good. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So our weather, the winds are up. You know, if you just saw that segment I mentioned, we actually did that one in a summer, but it feels like summer. We've got those Santa Ana winds with us, and the temperatures are going to start to rise each day, a little bit each day as we get to the weekend, and up to the mid-70s. Really nice weather. Maybe a little more wind coming in over the weekend, but definitely the offshore winds today, probably tomorrow, and then possibly over the weekend. So stretch of very sunny weather. I think the next time we're going to see clouds will probably be maybe Sunday evening into Monday.
That looks like boating weather to me.
Yeah, yeah, really nice. Yeah, beautiful throughout the area today, and everywhere you go. Palm Springs, 70 out there. They've been actually quite cool out there for Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And I mentioned up in Big Bear, only about 36 today. It'll be clear up there, but clear and very cold because those winds are going over the tops of those mountains. And then as they compress down, they heat up. But that's why over there, that would be quite chilly, but nice and clear and beautiful.
Yeah, clear,
out there.
and although the snow is not good, it's slushy.
Yeah.
Very slushy this weekend. So if you really want to ski, you need to go to Mammoth.
Yes.
That's where it is, for sure. Okay, so tomorrow we are hoping to bring you a security update with Tim Moy. We have Mark Rabinowitz and Lucy Parker here for Thrive. And then we have the Reform Temple coming in to give us the latest of some of their activities. So have a great day in the village, and we will see you tomorrow.